Hey everyone, long time. Apologize, I haven't been around. I've been busy doing many different things, namely the tax return that I needed to fill out from the amount of time that I spent working self employed. So I found out that if I don't have the tax return sent in by probably when this video is coming out on the 31st of January, that I could face a fine. So I've been putting everything else to one side until I got that finished. And that was not an easy one. That was something that took a lot of different videos, a lot of many hours just watching all of the different options I had. The main ones being to do with whether or not to take the £1,000 traders allowance that they give you, or whether or not you can total your expenses so that they come to more than 1,000. And it took a while. It's the first time I'd done it. It was potentially successful. Touch some wood. Hope everything does go well with it. If it does, it looks like I'm about to receive a rebate that should help carry me through a little bit of time. It's nice to have something coming through. But it made me sad in a way because it's the place that I used to work at. I have such a low opinion of the people that work below them that when a friend of mine was struggling with the same issues, he got a letter through saying that he was going to get a fine if he didn't send his tax return off, which was for the previous year, the year before I'd worked there. So his supervisor told him he didn't need to worry about it. He didn't need to fill it in. He could just get in touch with them and say he doesn't need to fill one in, which is quite sad because when I went through it and found the amount of deductions that you make to the amount of money that can possibly be taxed, on top of that, they will remove whatever the tax code number is from it. So say it's 12.57, that's 12.57 grand that gets taken off of your yearly earnings and you get taxed on the rest of it. And if you've been paying into either a CIS system, which is construction independence scheme, I think, or the PAYE, pay as you earn, you can actually get money back every year by filing a tax return, get a tax rebate. And upon realizing this is how it works, I would do my best to try and spread this information to anyone that will listen. I would take time out of my day to try and help someone through theirs. I've considered even making a video on it, although there are some brilliant videos out there that I managed to watch through some searching. I should leave a link in the description box for anyone that's working on their next year's tax return, as now it would be too late for anyone doing a 2023 to 2024 return. So that was a large chunk out of my life, but I actually feel quite positive about it. There was a lot of things that I didn't understand when I first started looking, and there's a lot of things that I understand a lot better now. It's things that you think are beyond you. You think it's like adult stuff. For me, anyway, I still see myself as a child at heart. There's a lot of things that I look at sometimes and think, yeah, done a good job at adulting there, and then have to remind myself I'm nearly 40 years old. I should be doing some decent adulting by now. If anything, I've been a bit of a late bloomer, but it is what it is. We all start out in different places. There's many different routes to the top of the mountain. I think things are going well. Like, still putting lots of work into tidying. Been spending a lot of time with my partner and my mum, just trying to spend time being present and in the room and not on my phone and not distracted as best as I can. There is obviously other things that get in the way, but that's mainly been it. I've been trying not to spend every waking minute doing something like that would pull me out of the room. I've got other things that I've been compiling data, different storing different things, writing different things, and keeping them to one side for now. I figured since I'd already hit a bit of a dive in the videos, take a break, an extended break. Every day I'd considered making a video, just pop on, Just a little chat, say hello, give an update. But then the things that are going on as well, I'm not actually 100% sure what to talk to you all about. So there's been a lot of things that I don't think particularly belong on this channel, except that this channel is about truth. So when it comes to truth, you kind of have to take it regardless of how inconvenient it is. And yeah, it's certain things that I need to go into because I still believe that we are all one and we all came from the same source. But I also believe that there is powers at work and that we are in a spiritual war. And it's the good versus the bad, as usual, but it's not that either side are particularly evil. It's likely that the bad side is actually artificial intelligence. And I don't mean just AI as a whole. I mean literally the artificial intelligence being created in the same way as one would create a computer that can play chess so that they have an opponent. What we're looking at is the eternal battle of good and evil played out by the hero and the villain. The villain being constructed as an enemy with programs. It can do lots of things, twist lots of things, manipulate things, distort things, and use a lot of powers of deception. But it can't create. And this sounds reminiscent of AI. It's something that can do many things that we can't do through the programming that it has received. But it can't conceive things on its own. I watched a chess battle that, uh, what is his name? Gotham something. Gotham Chess. Revy? Is this, completely getting his name wrong now. Levy from Gotham Chess set up two of the leading AI machines. I think one was ChatGPT, the other was Surefire or something. I'm not a big fan of AI, I don't really follow them, but I was interested in seeing the results of this because it was something that I wanted to see where AI is at with being able to configure things, put things in action, decide things, conceive things. And within 4 moves, the Surefire, or whatever it's called, AI, had left his queen open to attack from in the line of sight of the bishop of the opposing side. And then ChatGPT, on its turn, decided not to take the queen, but instead to move another piece. Thought that this was a little strange. Thought that there might be some kind of thing that you would see if you were to play out the long game in your head and to remove all of the pieces in the right order. If you allow this piece to take your queen at this moment, then you've captured just enough pieces to make it so that you'll win in the end game. But I was wrong. I'm afraid AI isn't that good yet. It started doing what the old computer chess games that I had when I was a child used to do. Started cheating. Got halfway through the match and pieces were jumping through pieces. There was a rook that was able to jump halfway across the board over a bunch of pieces. Some bishops that came out of nowhere just appeared in a cloud of smoke, just turned up out of the blue, were instant translocated or sent down by Scotty's beam. Like these things. There was a pawn that, for just one random turn, was able to move like a knight and jump in the L shape. It was a really, really strange game of chess to watch. And it was like almost to the point of, as Levy says, just watching an older brother or sister winding up their younger brothers and sisters by telling them about how chess is played all wrong. And no, that's how you play it. You do this. Just evil. This is the AI that people will be trusting their children's education on in the future. This is the AI that everyone's being sold at the moment. Like, are people even going to be asking me in a few months to be, but you like all that, you know, you were a fan of Trump and all that stuff. Like, aren't you going to get it? It's Elon Musk stuff. He's Trump's buddy. It's like, yeah, look, I'm about the truth. I'm not really about these people that are put in place to be the ones to watch. Like, it's a show. We're watching a show. There's no two ways about that. We're watching a show one way or another. What we're not 100% on is whether or not what is going on in the main show is going to work in our favor or against us. That's a matter of faith. And that I think it will manifest based on how many people have faith that something good can manifest out of this. It's like what we've got coming is a new world order, one way or another, because what we were living in was the middle ground. And what they're doing is separating everything now so that you've got duality. You've got one extreme or the other. You're either for or against. And at the same time, as I feel comfortable talking about these things because it's quite, what's the word? General. It's quite generic. It's quite non-specific. But what I have been compiling recently, and what I am in two minds about going deeper into, is different politicians and police officers and people in power that have been found guilty of sex crimes involving children or holding illicit pictures or something else. And it's incredibly dark stuff, and it's not really things that I want to be showing around to everyone, because it puts your head in a dark space when you look at these things. And I do believe that the number 17 team years ago had said, on for good reason, that the truth will be your choice to know at the end of the day. And I don't think that the big reveal is coming in the way that we thought it was coming. I think that there is a lot of things that are trickling out at the moment. And a big burning part of my inner passion for sharing truth is telling me to share as much as possible. I've even been tempted to go back onto social media and just start posting. But I'm trying not to get caught up in the emotion side of it, because that's how I got before. I got carried away with the emotion, started arguing with people more than actually sharing truth, started hating people and their attitudes towards things, and created more of a division than anything else, in the same way as I saw the vegan activist people doing it before me. They come in hard and heavy with the guilt trips, and then when people start laughing at them, making fun of them, they get angry because you're just a bunch of cruel, heartless beings. And I was one of those. I was one of those cruel, heartless beings making jokes. Just, yeah, vegetarianism, but bacon. Like, you're not going to convince me. And even now, after 3 years of being vegan, I still say, it's down to you, man. It's your choice. Same as it was my choice when I was eating it. I don't eat animal products for my own health reasons. It's nice to believe that it could have been through just a genuine love for the animals, but I was in such a detached state of mind. I was not able to sense anything like that. I grew up watching the news. There's only so many people you can feel sorry for before it breaks your fuse. You're no longer able to feel sorry for anyone because you're so used to seeing people in distress, people in devastating environments, losing everything, losing their family, losing their loved ones, having their homes taken from them, having no food, having illness and severe troubles to overcome. And these are things that you'd see that are just on the natural side of disasters. Then you start seeing the things that people are willing to do to each other and the extents that people will go to, and what for at the end of it. Just makes it very easy to fall out with humanity. It's like I get it. Like most of the people that believe that they're born in the wrong body, you're not born in the wrong body. You just get used to this world telling you what the body or the gender should be. And I'd say that a large majority of the guys that believe that they're really girls at heart, they're just guys that are in touch with their feminine side, which is something that used to be a thing. But even dressing up is not new. Like, drag has been around centuries, and people have done really amazing things and made it an art form. The cabaret. I've been to cabaret shows. I don't have any problems with people like that, and I don't think many people do. Same as tomboys, girls that want to work jobs that in engineering, or there's some girls that have worked in the fencing trade. When I was working for the fencing trade, there was even a customer's wife when I turned up at their house to drop off a delivery with my bus at the end of a shift. We saw the customer and his wife both out there digging holes. She had a bar spade in hand and she was doing a good job at digging holes. We'd have employed her. She was very good. And no one has a problem with people not being what you would expect from the stereotype of the gender. A lot of the people that they don't want to identify with the gender that they were assigned at birth because they don't want to be aligned with what the media says that they are. No one wants to be toxically masculine. Like, I get disgusted. I see people that are just coming out with this and that, the Andrew Tates of the world, the real ones that are like the face of toxic masculinity. I think probably Russell Brand and all of them lot are in there. Like, I don't know, should I do a name and shame? Is that bad? I've done those two names. They put themselves out there well in the spotlight. Other people, maybe like James Lindsay and stuff like that, I should probably not name anyone after that point because then it just becomes petty. These people, though, up to about Lindsay's level, who's been vocal enough about things and put his foot in it enough times for people to realize what their messages really are. Shouldn't even bring their names up unless I can give examples. I apologize to those of you that don't follow these people. I wouldn't advise you follow these people at all. There's better people you can listen to. Namely, yourself. You're the best person you can listen to. You will know better than anyone else what you are. And the way to tell what you are on the outside and on the inside is to not ignore either. You need to really get to know thyself. We all have a masculine and feminine side, divine, inside of us, because these things exist as part of the whole, the duality, the yin and yang. You never get just pure yin or pure yang. There's always one little speck of color. It's the little black dot in the white and the little white dot in the black. Never going to completely eradicate either one of them. It's like a game of Othello, but every disc is a yin and yang disc, and the colors can change. So, for how the world is in terms of everything that's going on, the dark side of the world, it's all going to be coming to light. That I do believe. The way I believed it was going to happen 4 years ago, we were given a lot of hope in the idea that there was going to be TV stations around the clock. No programming was going to be played except for a recording that would be about 8 hours long, telling you the full story from start to finish of the Great Deception and everything that's happened, and how the system was infiltrated by so many bad people that were all working against the countries that they said that they were supporting and that they were running, and that they were looking after. And I'm not saying that this isn't going to happen, but I'm saying it's far less likely as the choice for people to know will be theirs. So it's not for me to go around pushing this information on everyone the same way I did 4 years ago, longer. I mean, recently I've been going back and looking at a lot of these old posts, trying to work out if anything could have been done differently, and there's no way in hell. Everything went exactly the way it was always going to. It needed to. The people I fell out with, if I hadn't fallen out with them then, it would have been a matter of time, because everything got polarized. It was Brexit. Are you for or against? Are you a Remainer? Are you a Brexiter? It's Trump or Hillary? Are you? Or actually, it wasn't even really about Hillary. It was just Trump. Are you for or against? And that was made clear when it was it was ridiculous people that they put him up against. And I mean, like, not just Biden, like everyone, just every single person. You don't get that many. You don't get that much stupid in a row unless we're watching a show. And I think it's done that way on purpose to wake people up, not in a woke kind of way, to snap people out of a daze level of wake up. Like, wait, what? Did I just read that right? Is anyone else looking at this? That level of waking up. Not that whole, oh yeah, I read this, sister, I'm woke now. No, it's not about following people. Following people is what you do when you're still asleep. When you snap out of it, That's when you look and think something's not right here, and I've just realized that I need to be doing something about this, no matter how small, just something, just to indicate that I have seen this and I've understood it, and it is not legit. This is part of what I think we need to do to reject what is fake. There's plenty of males and females out there that are scared of their own gender because they're worried about who they are seen to be aligning with, in the same way as people were worried about telling people whether they were for or against getting a vaccine. That could end friendships. And that's for both sides. Like, I see people that were not into the vaccines getting a lot of unnecessary hatred from people that were fans of taking it, and vice versa. There was people that were shunned from their friends because their friends couldn't believe that they would take an experimental injection into their body or put it into their kids. It's just like, same as the people that took the injection can't believe that the other people would be so heartless that they wouldn't get it. And the division was there, the polarization was there. And I've had the argument years before it became a trend. Like, I was arguing with people 7 years, 8 years before that, talking about, I was sympathizing with parents that wanted to know what they were injecting their kids with. This was talking about a different vaccine entirely. It was the argument over whether or not vaccines cause autism. And I did say that I don't think that the vaccines, this is at the time anyway, I believed, I don't think that the vaccines are causing autism, but I do think that it would be better if people were to give the information rather than make the parents feel like heartless for caring about what they put into their child's body. And people looked at me like I was an idiot. They started trying to tell me that, like, do you not realize if it wasn't for vaccines, we'd all be dead? I was like, that's not even relevant to the price of fish right now. Like, what has that got to do with not making parents feel bad about taking an interest in what they're putting in their kids' bodies? And a guy who I had a lot of respect for, I lost a lot of it for him that day. He showed me a video of the magician's Penn and Teller throwing a load of balls at Skittles, and they had a sheet of glass that they wheeled in front of one, or a sheet of plastic that they wheeled in front of one, just a little barrier there to represent the vaccine. So then the balls are being thrown, and the Skittles that have no barrier protection get knocked over, and the ones that are protected don't get knocked over. And I'm just looking, and I'm looking at the guy, like, thinking, is this like he's trying to signal a message to me, maybe, that, come on, man, we've got to end the conversation. There's girls here. We were drinking, we were smoking, we were having a party. This isn't conversation for it, something like that. But no, he seemed to genuinely believe that the end of the argument would be if he showed me a couple of guys who are known, who make a living out of the art of deception, to come on and show me the very, 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 very basic concept of how a vaccine works. Well, that wasn't what was in question at all. It was about what the ingredients are in the vaccine. I noticed back then that people were touchy about the subject. So when it came to 4 years ago, I'd seen enough when I was testing the waters on the political spectrum. I'd make some posts and I'd see what the responses were, and I'd see what the cognitive dissonance was like, and I'd see what people were like where they start typing paragraphs and paragraphs, and everything was just paragraphs and paragraphs, no short responses unless it was sarcastic. Like, and it was a very uneventful, not even uneventful. There was no good outcomes from it, I think. I had tried to do some things that I thought were clever. I thought people might try and call me out on certain things. Start talk about Trump promoting the vaccines or something like that. No matter how much I tried to lead people into a place where I thought things would sink in, because they'd try and point something to me out, and then it'd sink in for them to suddenly realize that, oh, wait, hang on. If Trump's bad, why are we trusting a vaccine that he would be pushing? That kind of a thing. Now, I'm not here telling people whether or not to get vaccines in general. just when it came to this specific one, and there was no government liability. And there was testing phases on animals, but they stopped because too many animals died. And it was like, you know what? There's only so much that you can hear before you have to turn and say to people, okay, well, I'm not going to get it anyway because I don't trust unnatural things in my body. This is a time where even a lot of people are throwing around the idea of, yeah, well, you'd take cocaine, even though you don't really know what's in that. And I've never really been a fan of cocaine unless, there's girls around, and then it can be a lot more tempting. But I looked at it as, yeah, this isn't, they're exactly right. Cocaine is another case of getting something that you don't know what it is and putting it in your body through sheer faith alone. And I never did cocaine again after that. There was a lot of things that suddenly it dawned on me. Before that, yeah, I always stayed away from prescription drugs, even after I'd got the tendonitis. I mean, I would use the naproxen if I absolutely had to. Otherwise, I'd do my best to try and avoid using anything. At the absolute worst, I'd use an anti-inflammatory painkiller, like a ibuprofen or something, or cannabis. That was my answer for most things. So that was the that's the situation. It's a bit of a strange situation, especially you've got everything is about division. There's people that were very close friends, like there's people that were closer than the close friends that I fell out with. And I'm talking marriages, I'm talking family. They stopped talking to each other. They stopped inviting each other to family gatherings. And they started shunning each other from their lives. And this was going to happen regardless. It was always the plan. Because you keep people divided and fighting amongst themselves, and they're easier to control. So that's just a given. That's how governments work. You keep power by making sure that any power that can rise against you is divided. It's very simple. A house divided against itself cannot stand. It's like what happened with the Black Panthers in America. You may know them today as the Crips or the Bloods. It's what they were split into when the initial members of the Black Panthers were sent to prison, and the people who had gotten close to them that had taken the position to look after the gangs in their absence turned it into a street war. Initially, when they started, they were just there to watch the police, to make sure that the police weren't beating the hell out of black people, going way more than what's necessary or considered necessary force, just beating people that are unarmed. It used to happen a lot. I think it happens a lot less now, but you can never be too sure. I have a lot of sympathy for movements like that because that's a proper movement. They used to turn up armed because someone had a radio that would intercept the police radios, so they turn up to the same locations and just stand there with weapons and watch the reading the Miranda rights, watching everything go down the way it's supposed to without all of the unnecessary brutality. But that is making a stand against the current political structure, which means that it would be taken down eventually because it gets infiltrated. Which is why I'd never be a fan of building up any kind of army. You always get things infiltrated and ruined. And it's all about where the funding is coming from. It's like you'll always find people that will use these causes to gain themselves a lot of money or power or something. Like the BLM people. There was a lot of better movements that could have happened to help empower black people. Instead, you had a load of people telling, mainly black, but telling a lot of youths to go out and loot places and destroy property and take stuff for themselves and basically help society to crumble so that they themselves could receive loads of money from donations, use small amounts of it to pay off bail for people that were important to them, and left a lot of other people high and dry. You see the mansions that these people had, the leaders. I'm not going to do a name and shame. One of them recently lost a lot in the LA fires, allegedly. But these are people that used the cause for their own gain, sent a bunch of people out to do things that would make them hated by people that just trying to get by in society. I mean, I saw videos of people trashing and looting places that actually had BLM fist support signs up in the window. They were supporters of the movement that destroyed their shop and livelihood. You know what I mean? Like, people are sympathetic to the tragedies that people suffer because we all suffer. It's not like, I'm a white guy. It's not like I come from a life of privilege. I grew up on a council estate. I had a friend that was the daughter of a prostitute, and her mum's pimp was the estate's dealer. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Me and my friends grew up watching hood movies, like, relating to them, knowing what it means to be broke and deal with these characters going about, like seeing crackheads and stuff like that in your street. Not as bad, nowhere near as bad. You look at the crackheads in the projects, that was serious levels of concern. When you look at the nutters, I suppose, heading around these estates, you're less likely to get stabbed. You're more likely to see someone picking up cigarette ends off the floor, lighting them up and smoking them. So it's people that are a bit more harmless, but still very desperate people. So I'm not trying to say that I'm a hood rat or anything, that I've managed to grow up like streetwise from it. Just say that no matter where you live, you're always going to end up with something there that resembles a rundown area. If you're from the middle class or upper class, you're just left close enough to them so that you will think twice about your actions so that you don't end up becoming one of them. And if you're somewhere on my level, you'd be working class to not working class, I guess, like on the dole class or whatever, the kind of people that you'd see struggling to rise above ground level just in case the ground switches to water and we end up sinking. Just doing your best to get by. No one really has any money. Everyone always pitches together with what they have and everyone gets through. But then still did manage to find those kind of circles, the circles of friends that you get where you can always find weed somehow. It just seems to manifest. Even when you're completely skint, someone will turn up that has some weed or that knows someone that knows someone that has some. And you end up going off on an adventure, trading things, fireworks. Or it was a strange life. Definitely had a strange one. Out of all of the billions of possibilities, like, I'm not sure how it works outside of here. We've got infinity, like time being endless in singularity, and water. These waters would have all of the memories. You could experience absolutely everything at any point, any time. Because once things start happening, everything happens at once. And your ability to be any individual piece of that combination of things allows you to experience all of it. It's like that all seeing eye that every living being seems to have. We've got it as part of the optic thalamus. Reminds you of the witch, the three witches from, is it the Iliad or Homer's Odyssey? They share one eye and one tooth. Three witches sharing one eye. Could it be the all-seeing eye by any chance? What's the tooth? Tooth in Hebrew is shin. Shin also means truth, as in shinjitsu. It's truth or reality. So you have shin which looks like the Hebrew letter looks like a set of teeth or a fire. Shin is also the word for death in Japanese. Shinai, shin, shi, I think, or related to death. The fourth number in Japanese is often referred to as yon instead of shin or shi because it sounds a bit morbid. I think seven, shichi, sounds close enough to it that they prefer nana instead. And the three witches, there's three in number, the power of three. Yeah, apart from it's like the all-seeing eye is the eye of singularity. It's when you give up the eye of duality. Odin had to give up an eye. He took out an eye at the well of Mimir, gave up his eye for the knowledge. Eye is also ego in Latin. The eye is the self. The ego protects the self. The ego is there to keep you alive. It's like people think you're going to get this miraculous ego death and then that's it. Everything will be in singularity from then on. It's not possible because you, without duality, it's like having a body but with no head and no butthole because you're singular. Like with singularity, everything must be singular. You could look for levels of purity, but singularity is different. Singularity is the boundless ocean, which is what we all are. When we remember it, we can experience it, which you can do in satsangs, which you can listen to Muji, or I'm sure there's many others that do guided meditation to strip down everything in the reality around you. With a bit of practice, I might be able to get people there myself. Something that I talk to myself sometimes through. Sometimes in meditation, just before I get to the part where I try and stop thinking in words. That's a time when I might attempt to talk myself back to the boundless ocean and just remember that underneath everything that we see around us, everything that is manifesting in front of us, it's us that are in control. We are the magician. We are the ones that decide ultimately what we get to see and experience. Trouble is, it's not our prefrontal cortex mind that gets to decide that. It's the subconscious mind, which is like the parental mind, because it knows what we need, not what we want. It knows both, but it knows what we desire and what we actually want to help us. And there's a balance. And in this world, you find quite often that you don't get what you want, but you will always end up with just enough to cover what you need. And I have to admit, in the past 20 years, probably less than that, being a bit dramatic now, but around 15 years, I've been worried about being without work. I've had periods of time where I've gone without work, but I've been busy doing other things, other projects in between, and still kept busy and still kept money coming in one way or another. But this time it was different. This time it's been since November, and I've gotten to a stage where I really feel like I can make a difference, or I've got an opportunity here to make a difference because, unlike a lot of people that are trapped, I've been given an opportunity to break away from what's considered a normal 9 to 5 life. And if it means that I just spend a bit less money, consume less, I don't mind doing that for a while. Don't mind doing that indefinitely if it means I'm able to do things, make a difference, help people make changes in the world, help people to make changes in their own life, the same way as I made some in mine. That's what it comes down to. You gotta take control of your own life. You gotta govern your own mind. Government to govern is to steer. They're just steering you away this way and that way. Not even for any real game, because at the end of it all, we're playing against the computer, you and I. Now, when I say you and I, there's not just two of us, is there? How many billions of actual people have come down to attempt beating this computer simulation? Now, outside of here, there is no time, meaning that every time we fail, we can come straight back in and try again. The system will run, has already run, will again. Inside of the place of time is different from outside of the place of time. When you're inside of the place of time, you have to try and explain everything with a beginning, middle, and end. But outside of the place of time is the ever-present now, which is all that really does exist. Everything inside of this is the illusion. The ever-present now is able to give us these illusions, or delusions even, as it's taken away from us in order to show us. Though even these, they're theories, aren't they? I mean, what's the alternative? What's that popular one? Oh, you're just born, and then you live, and then you die, and that's just it. Oh my, how scientific. How deep and insightful, thank you. So if that's the case, nothing to worry about. Cool. Well, if this is a place you come to learn, well, then you've actually got to do something, haven't you? You can't just mess around. I mean, all right, you can, because clearly we can. We can spend our entire lives messing around, but then we have to face the consequences, and eventually we're going to learn, because can't come out of this place having not beaten the game. So we need to. This is the whole point of being here. There might be other things involved in it. We're not just here to save ourselves or to complete the game for ourselves, but we're here to save every other version of ourselves that exists. How many is it? 8.6 billion people that are recorded on the planet? And that's just a number that we're told. It could be any number, really, higher, lower. It could just be one of us, and the rest could be illusion. I think the logical steps you have to follow through as the philosopher, entertain all of the ideas separately without fully believing any of them, and allow your mind to run through the set of sequences as you would imagine them to happen. And things get very complicated very quickly. It's like if you were to look at a hall of mirrors. Before mirrors, they used to have the reflection in the water. You'd see your reflection in water. Now, this is when you've got a flat edge to the water, usually when you're looking down on the water from above, because there's a flat surface on the top of the water, maybe a few waves in it, but when it flattens out, you can see your reflection. And water, sitting water, always is trying to level out, because that's how it works. Suspended water with other things acting on it may form perfect droplets in midair and other things, but when you sit water, sitting water always sits as flat as it possibly can. It's always looking for a way. I've seen that little bubble effect that you get on the glass when you slowly fill it with more water than the container can hold. That's pretty cool. A little wave comes along and tap the glass to the side, spillage over the edge, will still try and find its way to flat. So it's the nature of the water. Same as what we're in right now. It's the extremes of the duality, but we are inside something that is trying to go back to its flat place of rest. Like when you get a pendulum or Newton's cradle, and you have it swing one way, then the other, then equal amount in both sides. So it's this extreme and then it's that extreme, and they're quite far apart. And then they get less extreme and less extreme and less extreme until it finds that perfect middle ground. There's not even a slightest bit of movement. Same as a raindrop, you have the water, it waves up and down until eventually it levels out and goes completely still. So that's the equivalent of going into a world of singularity, meaning this world, the 3D world, the world with time and space and everything else that we love to move around in, got to leave it behind in order to experience singularity. Now, the bonus is that you would definitely, definitely, definitely be with all of those that you love and your twin flame, and everything is perfect and balanced. But what you don't get is the experience that we came here for in the first place. We were in a place with the boundless ocean where everything was one. We came to a place of extremes where everything is at very least duality, and then you've got the spectrum, and then you've got, well, we could say instead of duality really is dissected. We're living in a dissected world. All of the lights in a prism, and you see lights going through a prism being split up into the different colors. It's pretty much what we've gone to. We've got the different extremes. Man, I really need to shave or trim. So I apologize, there's not been a video for a while. I've been on a desert island trying to swim my way back. It was okay. I managed to use a couple of my head noodles as armbands and keep myself afloat. It's by constantly puffing some air into them. Yeah, it's like, for where I am at life right now, it's trying to work out what truth I'm supposed to show people, because there's many levels to it. And the first level, I think, for me was learning what wasn't real. Start wading your way through the things that are obvious lies. See if you can find any truth. Then afterwards, it's latching on to the whatever truth you can find that is actually true. So I spent a lot of time looking at different things going on in the governments. This is back from as early as the U Tree operation, where Jimmy Savile was found to be a notorious paedophile and abuser. He was just a predator that preyed on the weak and vulnerable, and the worst kind of abusers. And they don't tend to get found out until they've passed away. And it's disturbing. There's a lot of things that you see that are very disturbing. People that are linked, people that are celebrities you'll have seen from when you were a child. There's a lot of names on the Jeffrey Epstein list. And that was something that came about in recent years. And 2019, I was arguing tooth and nail with people over it. It was a bit pointless. There was people basically, what was the word, calling me a fantasist, even saying that I must be crazy believing that there's some elite island that pedophiles use to go and abuse people. And then the next day the news dropped, and it didn't even dead the argument, because I posted the news. Just look here, it's in your trusted newspapers now. Now what? Then people started looking into the news, but of course only some of the news, not too much detail came out. A lot of people think it was just a place where people like Prince Andrew went to sleep with slightly underage girls, maybe like 16, 17, No idea on the full scope of horror that was apparently going on the island. There was people that had survived. There was a girl that had managed to swim to a nearby island and save herself. But then, at the same time as I'm saying all this could just be optics. This could be things that we were researching that were left there for us to research, which I do hope. There's a lot of times that I look at it and I just think how disgusting the world would be if everything did act out the way that we were shown. I like to think there is a possibility that everything we were shown was just a part of the show. It's all been lies and deception. Get us to believe that all these people are suffering because it's what was needed to wake us up at a certain point. The alternative to that, though, is just that for a long time, very detached people, very sadistic, masochistic, and desensitized people been getting away with doing a lot of things so that they could try to feel something like an adrenaline rush. Now, I'm not going to go into where they get their adrenaline from. Just say that this is a world that delivers if you're after dark things. And I feel like I've been that kind of person in the past a lot. I think I could put a lot of blame on myself for what I've delved into, things that I've been interested in, just creating the things for you to see. It's a bit like what they say, if you want to be a police officer, then the world around you needs to generate criminals. Otherwise, you'd have nothing to do. Whatever you choose that you want to do in this life, it will become possible for you. And that's your birthright. That's what it means to live this life, because we are all one. We're the only ones that really get to decide what's right for us. And we know what's right and wrong because it's not our first rodeo. We see the effects that it has on us when we experience it as the recipient of the things that we dish out. It's like we've committed every crime known to man. We've also known every man and felt the crimes committed by every man. No, I mean man and woman. There's two types of men: men and men with wombs. But we're all men. Mankind. Man, why is it important? Well, men especially. It's to do with the moon. It's because it comes from the mother. Physical people would come from the mother. The moon, it's the mother energy close to Earth. It's known as Mother Earth. The things that grow on Mother Earth. It's the magnetism from the moon that aids us. And the men from the menstrual cycle. Who would have thought there's an actual link? The moon is also to do with the mind, the mentality. So is that highlighting the idea that all of our actions and all of our beings are just manifestations of God meditating? God, who is the one, that same one entity that could be any which one of us right now. It could be you watching, it could be me talking. It just depends on what the screen is around at the time. For me, I'm looking around in this body. For you, you're watching me looking around in this body. We're all the same entity, the same energy inside of the boundless ocean, the one that can cast reflections 360 degrees times 360 degrees, reflections of many different shapes and sizes. It's like a boundless ocean in a way, but in the state that we're in, it's like a boundless hall of mirrors. Everything is a different reflection in one way, shape, or form of different states of us. Just things have evolved a lot more from experiencing the difference between solid, liquid, and gas. Now experiencing the difference between elements in a whole arrangement of different states, people with whole arrangements of different personalities, different things that drive them, different levels to our communication, different things that are possible to put into language, into expression, and a world that works for you, because even if you choose an unnatural path, it will give you every possible place you can. If you want to be the world's greatest prostitute, or like you want to be a cannibal chef, like you will find a way in this world to make it happen and can make it happen. Like there's people out there on OnlyFans that are trying to sleep with 1,000 men and things like that. Like I'm not going to judge you if that's what you want to do. I've taken many drugs in my time. I'm fully aware of what it feels like to have wants for things that don't make sense. I could blame that toxoplasmosis parasite that you get from cats, as I still do believe that underneath everything, humans are kind-natured at heart. There's a lot of other people that believe otherwise. They think that the human race is a bunch of feral creatures that were domesticated, and religion is used as a control mechanism to give them a fear of God, to get them to stop breaking laws. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm not an idiot. I know that that has been how religion has been used in a lot of places, but I don't think that that's all that religion has to offer, not by a long shot. I think that it's funny the way that both sides exist. You get that side of religion where it's very dogmatic. You're getting people being told what they should do by another person. They've got the book, the scripture, it's in their hand now, but a lot of the times they don't read and understand it. They might read and recite it. They might be able to tell you 100 different Bible passages and be able to even quote them at relevant times. But would they be able to read it with the eyes to see and the ears to hear, and to understand what the message is trying to express, what the language has information held within it? It's not as easy to see. It's far less likely. Nah, both sides of the religion work out. You've got the people that follow orders. They get their rewards because what they care about is other people seeing them. They're gonna sing and dance about all of the work they've done to charity, and if they're fasting, they've all got to tell everyone about their good deeds, and they're like ask other people about what they're doing, just try and bring it back to the forefront, all these good things that they're doing. Or they go out and pray out in the street, and they start loudly praying and falling down on their knees, and they'll get their rewards. Their rewards are the people that are looking at them, because that's what they wanted. That was the image that they were going for, and then their reward was the image. It says Matthew 6:6, I believe, something about going inside the closet. Can't remember the exact wording, but then again, the wording changes depending what version of the book you read. The idea is to go inside the closet, not pray like these heathens do, because they think that they're going to be heard for their much speaking. And the Father knows already who you are and what you would need and what you would want. Doesn't need you to tell him uh, what it is that you need. You just need to sit there and listen. Sit there in stillness and silence and listen. And that's what I try and do. It's easy to forget. It's easy to get caught up doing other things. But if you can remind yourself that the stillness and silence is the best way to have that direct communication, because that brings you back to the primordial, boundless ocean, into that place that we know as Om. I imagine what it's going to sound like. It'd be like hearing 7 vowel sounds at once. harmonizing, but all as if they're coming from one breath of air. Interesting thing about waking up is a lot of the times that I've made discoveries and realized things, I've realized that it's not the first time that I've realized these things. And each time it stands out more and more that, hang on a minute, I've had these thoughts before and I've completely forgotten about them. And then it makes you wonder if your own mind is working against you in this world of duality. And wouldn't it make sense? As above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. If it's going on outside, it must be going on inside too. There's a narrative out there that's scripted. There's a narrative in here that's scripted. It's your thoughts. So the thoughts that you have, that's part of the fasting. You need to get rid of certain demons. Certain demons can only be gotten rid of through prayer and fasting. Or what is prayer? Well, you don't pray as the heathens do. You should do is go inside your closet, sit there in the stillness and the silence. Deep breaths, no thoughts. Now it should be that simple, but your brain's not going to give up without a fight. Ah, it's just a cigarette YouTube, herbal cigarette. My mum's got a lot of things here like mugwort, wormwood, raspberry leaf, mullein, strawberry leaf. Is it? No, not strawberry leaf. Marshmallow leaf, raspberry leaf, mullein, hyssop. Basically tea. Just loads of different types of herbal tea that you can smoke if you choose to, and it's slightly healthier for you than smoking cigarettes. So yeah, that's all this is, YouTube. Herbal cigarette. Don't like ban my video for that. Like, if anything, it's become more of a fashion accessory. I hold it more than I smoke it. And that's because I've been in a weird place. I've been enjoying feeling this feeling because it's not often I come back down to earth. There's a lot of time I try and fast and raise my vibrations. And now I'm at a point where I'm shedding, I think is the word. Purging, some people might call it. Getting rid of everything inside that no longer needs to be there. Helping manifest that on the outside as well as the inside. Just trying to clean everything up. Like using bicarbonate of soda on the floor the other day. Managed to get rid of stains that have been on that floor since my partner had moved in over 10 years ago. Paint stains on the kitchen floor that have been there since the place was done, pretty much. We managed to get it off with bicarbonate of soda and vinegar, of all things. Now I've scrubbed that with bleach before. Nothing. Bicarbonate, you know what I mean? It's like that science experiment that made the volcano erupt when you were in school. That's enough to clean that. It didn't involve any complicated bleach or science work, just the basics. Here's acid and sodium. So yeah, I was well impressed with that. And every time I clean something, I imagine what the inside correspondence is. Like there must be a part either inside my body or inside my partner's body that resembles what we've just seen, the stain that we've managed to clean off. And that could be something that's on one of your lungs or, wait, kitchen? Probably your mouth, like, presumably. If the kitchen is where you prepare food before it goes into your belly, that's the mouth. Prepare the food, chop it down, bring it to your belly. I think that's how it would work. What would maybe maybe each room has a different part of the body. You could have the lungs being the back garden or conservatory, even if you're in one of the places that has those rooms in it. Places I usually see when I'm out working in people's gardens rather than live in. Both places that I tend to spend a lot of time in are quite small places. This is what you get in the city. Not sure if you live in the city or if you live in suburbs or in the country. It's generally quite cramped unless you're rich in the city. This isn't even central city, either of them. I've seen far worse places. But things are tiny here. You get a small amount of space that is called your kitchen. Remind me of those ghosts with the little loo mouths. Tiny little mouths, big bellies, tiny little necks. Not able to ever eat enough to satisfy that big hole inside of them, the big hole inside their stomachs. Could always digest just too quick to be able to fill them up. But why are they relevant? I don't know. I think these things, I feel the connection. Start saying these things, I feel the connection drift away. Then I wonder why I even got into this. There was initially a plan. It's interesting, you can see on my glasses this effect. You got like a reflection of the screen, which will give another reflection of me, which if you look at the right point in that reflection, you can see yet another reflection in the background. If I move my finger, you can read the movements and a few different. There's one there, one back here in the distance. When you have a mirror facing another mirror, that's pretty much infinity. When it's a boundless ocean of raindrops, each part of that water can reflect each part of that water. As soon as a reflection is in there, I think that creates a separation from the waters and the waters, which is what we've got in our age of Aquarius at the moment. People seem to be coming back to this realization. I had information like this a few years back and wouldn't have dreamed of making videos about it before 2016. I think things were definitely starting to come out. Things Santos Bonacci was talking about back when he was still talking about the sun being in a binary with Sirius, all of the space stuff, which then he adamantly changed from when he went fully into flat Earth. Now, I'm not against you being flat Earth or round Earth or whatever Earth, hollow Earth. What I'm pro is being able to discuss these things without being mocked, without making people feel stupid, without people making people feel like anti-vaxxers or what's the other one, far right wingers, white supremacists. I've heard, like, honestly, I've met racist people. I know what it's like. I cringe in their presence because things they say that I don't feel comfortable with. What they call racist these days is beyond ridiculous. Like, there's things that you could maybe say are cheeky in a way, but there needs to be really a separation between identifying and making fun of differences between yourself and others and bullying, because straight up, bullying's not a good thing. It might help people to evolve, it might be a good evolutionary step for people, throwing them into this situation where they have to overcome and adapt. But quite often that's not how bullying goes, is it? The bully doesn't have this person's growth in mind. Bullies are quite often willing to choose complete destruction over anything that would make them look weak. That whole, well, if I can't have it, no one has it, and they'll break the handheld computer device that they run off with, or something along those lines. These bullies are often seen as the left brainers. It's people that can only handle things on a repetition. They're like fast cars and a little bit of Charlie cheeky line. I don't know why I'm even doing that, but yeah, they're the type. They're cocaine people, I like to think, even if they're not into the drug cocaine. They're Cain's people. You've got Cain and you've got Abel. You've got Cain is the one with the spear, going out hunting, taking what he wants. Abel is the one that is the patient shepherd, doing his best to raise the crops, raise the flocks. There's a difference between hunting and farming. There's a lot more love can go into farming. I'm not talking about the meat farms. I'm not talking about the abattoirs or any of the things that people would tell me I'm not a proper vegan for. Like, don't care, by the way. Never like that word. It's another word like flat earther or anti-vaxxer, vegan. It's like, if I had to choose, I'd probably say fruitarian, but truthfully, I'm just a fussy eater because I eat a lot of things. I've barely had any fruit since I came off the last fast. Well, that's mainly a money thing. I know that fruit can get very expensive very quickly. I've still been getting bits and pieces. Still got some fruit juice, and probably down to my last tub of peanut butter now. So lucky had about 8 kilograms of it saved. And yeah, I felt like I wasn't bringing much money in, so I'd have less of what I like usually, which meant less fruit because a lot of what we've been doing recently is cooking. Been cooking some amazing meals. Not even gonna lie, they've been really, really nice. Been doing a lot of shallow fried tofu, which is not the healthiest, but the rest of the meal, everything is super healthy, like done from scratch, like basic ingredients. I think maybe one or two things that like a vegetable stock cube or something occasionally gets added that are like considered processed foods. But I'm extremely picky when it comes to processed foods. Like reading through the ingredients lists, generally, if it's something I don't recognize, I'll just assume that my stomach won't recognize it either, and I'll leave it be. If it's all natural ingredients that it's made with, and it doesn't look like it's got any red flags on there, any alarm bells ringing, I don't mind adding it to the diet, but I still see it as like a junk food. So this has been very good experience of getting to cook and eat loads of different styles of food as well, I suppose. So there's been things that I've done with lemongrass, Thai basil, ginger, peanut butter, coconut milk. It's made like Thai food, uh, the bird's eye chili peppers, which aren't burning me as much as directly after the fast. So I can tell my sensitivity's dropped as well a bit. And I've been enjoying it. So no regrets, but I can tell that my life is going to improve a lot when I start eating a lot more fruit again. I feel it's going to be coming soon because I'll be doing the fasting soon for Ramadan, which is coming up in February. It should be dry fast from sunrise to sunset, and Lent, which comes up then in February as well, running through to April. Now I know I seem like a bit of a fruitcake, following multiple different like religious traditions. It's not because of the religions. It's because the time of year in which they choose to do it, it perfectly aligns with the stars in one way, shape, or form. And for me, I like to experience it. Like the Islamic calendar follows the lunar months. It's got the sorry, the lunar year. It's got the right repetitions working in order to get things to cycle through the season at a certain way. But I like to attempt the fast and see what the feelings are, see how it feels different. Same for Lent. Lent, I think, is a good one for the Julian, no, Gregorian calendar. I think is the solar lunar calendar, but with the seasonal part in line. Calendars get a bit confusing. You get the lunar, the solar lunar, and the seasonal. The one that includes the seasons, that would be the one that Lent would be a part of. The the timings of a lot of things, especially if you were to look at the solstices and equinoxes, and then you have the halfway points in between them. What are they called? You got Groundhog Day, May Day, Halloween. I forget the last day, quarter, something quarters. Not looked at it for a while. But yeah, to avoid getting lost and talking about time for hours, I think it'll probably be good to wrap it up around about now. I'm going to try and put more time into the videos now that I've got a bit more time, a bit less time to have to allocate towards different things. I've got a lot more of an idea of how to do things, but I'm still torn between how much information to share. I've considered doing a second YouTube channel or something. Just try and keep the things separate because, yeah, I believe in truth and truth needs to be shared, but there's also levels to it and details. And it's like I feel that this is important stuff to know, but I don't want to delve into it too heavy. But if you can't accept the basic levels of deception that is on a scripted reality level, it's going to be very hard to get through the bits further down the line, which are as deep as the all seeing eye is projecting as well as receiving. Like, for duality and for us to be playing against the computer, it would make sense if there was an all seeing eye and then another eye, AI. It's there because we need an opponent, same as the physical world in the first place, because the spiritual world needed a reflection. And that's spiritual being used as a blanket term to mean many different types of etherical, esoterical, metaphysical. Now, one side of me thinks that I need to share as much truth and information as I can with people because we've got a difficult choice coming up, probably in a few years, not now, but it's got to start planning because I can see it coming. We're going to be offered Starlink, the connection to AI, your brain directly connected to AI. Is that a good idea? Well, I don't think so, because relinquishing a bit of control, you don't know what the AI can do when it's got access to your brain. Like, I don't even like giving apps access to my phone. I had to begrudgingly accept Microsoft Word having access on my phone to delete files, which it does explicitly say that this can be done without prior warning, meaning that Microsoft Word now has permission to modify and delete things that are on my phone. So once I'm done with my CV that I got looked at by the National Careers Service woman that I met today, I'm going to remove Microsoft Word from my phone because I hate giving those kind of permissions out. I don't trust what they can do with them. I definitely wouldn't trust what they could do with a chip inside my head. They're a lot further advanced than you think with technology. The AI that they have, good enough for an entire film to be produced without a single actor having to do a single scene, and everyone in it would look perfect, like deep fake level perfect. The AI that we get to see, Surefire versus ChatGPT, where it loses the queen on the fourth move, except doesn't because the other computer decides not to take it and just leave it open. Like, that's what we get to see. We get to see AI that can't spell strawberry or tell you how many R's is in the word strawberry. So there was another one that I saw recently. It was a video that went viral of a few guys. I think one of them might have been a YouTuber, or the three of them might have been YouTubers, and they were your typical urban youth types, the ones that would be like playing computer games and picking on their little brothers or whatever. But there was this robot that was going around, and it must have cost like $70,000 or something like that. And they're going about bullying the thing and just kicking it. And they had this story about the robot tried to run away from these people because of the abuse. And I thought it was quite ingenious the way that it was done, because the story is suggesting that the robot, the AI, has feelings like a human. The behavior is human like. The promotion was done through something that was bound to go viral, because as soon as people see these guys bullying the robot, they start sharing it and going like, "Isn't it disgusting? Isn't it disgusting how these people behave like this? That this is all this thing is to them." It gets spread around on the outrage from the people that don't like the abusive behavior, which is quite a lot of people. A lot of people. Like, a lot of guys that are trying to transition to female are doing it to get away from looking like these people. Like, it's not a popular, way to be. It seems like people that go to school now, they're faced with, you either act like that and join a gang of other people that act like that, or you're going to have to do something extreme to get away from it. So, obviously, not for everyone. There's a lot of people out there that genuinely think they were born in the wrong body. They've existed for many years before this was all a trend. It doesn't mean they haven't still made it a trend. And one of the reasons why these things are trending is because of what people perceive the rest of the world to be like. Like women, a lot of the women that want to get mastectomies and have their boobs removed, it's not because they believe that they are really men or anything. They're worried about getting sexually assaulted by men, because they're looking at these idiots going around being very rapey predator types that are just trying to convince girls to do sexual things so that they can run off with another girl. Like, standard stuff if you're into the music scene. I'm sure Taylor Swift has a song or two about it. All right, maybe not Taylor, but hundreds of songs out there about loving and leaving your lover. I say love, not quite love. using and abusing other users, as everyone gets programmed to use people. I digress. I was talking about duality, and it does seem like the robots, the poor bullied robot. Now I'm one to talk with my name Daryl, being data analyzing robot youth life form. Like I could even be a robot that you're watching here, and that'd be funny. The guy that's always talking smack about AI turns out to be AI himself. Wonder is there an I mean, if I put my middle initial in, I've got an I. Ah, I've got to check that out. My full name, Daryl Ian Golden. Surely there's an AI anagram in there. Something something AI, but AI is there. I'm gonna have to have a look for that. But yeah, this robot is not human. It doesn't have human traits or emotions. It does what it's programmed to do. And the people, the ones that were making the video where they're bullying it, probably not bullies. They're probably making the video for money. But then again, they could easily be bullies that were just hired to do this for money. But basically, the message is being spread in a way that it will go viral because of people's outrage at the attitudes that are being expressed by the people in the video. And then, as a side note, which is the main message that they were trying to get out, which is AI is scarily human. That's what people talk about after the share. I've shared this. Why have you shared that? Look at how disgusting these people are. Oh, yeah, that is disgusting. Side note, isn't it mad how the AI, blah, 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 human, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, blah, blah. It's a very simple trick. It's called anchoring, mind anchoring. Yeah. Anchoring extra information with the package, with the shipment. Like, it's an interesting trick that I saw someone that was very manipulative that I knew in the past use on other people. It's a technique that I know gets used by people, and I've seen it work. It's not a boast. It's not something to be proud of. I'm happy that I recognize these things to not get tricked by them. I don't like to use these tricks on people. I think it does devalue your quality of life when you start tricking people. The art of deception, you've got to be willing to accept a lot of it coming back your way. It's like I don't have like a absolute zero tolerance for doing something bad. I'm just aware that when I do something bad, I've got karma coming. I've got consequences coming. So it better be damn worth it. And a lot of the time, if it's just to satisfy me or an urge, it's not worth it. It's better be something worth suffering for if it's something that I'm going to go for. You know what I mean? We've all got different things that inspire us in that way. Seeing someone that I care about in pain, it's inspiration for me to do something that would then have consequences to deal with again later. Yeah, I care less about consequences than I do about trying to do the right thing. Just at this point in time, I'm not entirely sure what the right thing is to do. I have people that get back in touch with me sometimes because I did have a large group of friends. It was over 1,000 people on my Facebook. Now that means that only 500 of those would be actual people that I get on with, talk to, know in real life, not just a secondary account of someone or their cat. And out of those 500, that a bunch of them would be acquaintances and not really care about you or who you are in the first place. But with a big community I was a part of, I know that there was at least 100 people out of the 1,000 that I could have considered to be friends that I would have met up with in real life away from an event that we're invited to. Of those, probably only about 10 of those would be really close. Maybe would have been more like 20, 10 other ones that have been around for 15 years plus. Very close people in my life. And there's only been one person who got back in touch with me and didn't stop talking to me when I decided to test the waters. And he is probably the best friend that I had. Just wouldn't have realized it if everything hadn't gone the way it did over the polarization and the lockdowns. Other than that, people get back in touch with me. We back and forth a little bit, because I can be civil, polite, that kind of thing. Generally, small talk, seeing how the other person is. If I test the waters, talk about something real, I don't get a reply. Which serves well for me, because the testing the waters is just to make sure that we don't get too invested. Go meet up for dinner or something like that, and then have the awkward dinner table conversation, which results in a, I think I should leave. Some people are not quite ready to hear another perspective yet. And I'm not someone here that thinks that I've got all the answers, not by a long shot. I can detect when things are not right. Like with food, I could tell you what fake food or what food is fake all day long. But the perfect diet, ooh, it's a bit of a difficult one. Fruit, yeah, but that's not what I eat all the time. Been having a lot of curry, stir fry, sweet potatoes, sweet potato rice. Like, these aren't fruits. Sweet potatoes are herb. Like, I know what's ideal, but then you got to live with your diet as well. And it's a bit like being in the shower. Before I get in the shower, I don't want to get in. My body seems to do everything it can to dwindle about, find somewhere else to be, find something else to do to avoid having to go take a shower. Even when the water's running, I could be standing there without any clothes on, still not quite feel ready to jump in. Until I'm in the shower, and the water's all around me, it's nice and warm, and I really enjoy it. Then I don't want to get out. I was like, but it was so hard to get in here. Now I don't even want to leave. That's how it feels to eat nothing but fruit. You start off, you really don't want to do it. You jump headfirst into it, start doing it for a while. All of a sudden, you're comfortable with it. It doesn't feel hard at all. You could stay there all year. And when you come out of the shower, get cold again instantly. Similar to that. Come away from the fruit. You're not interested in fruit again. You're interested in exploring all of the different flavors, all of the other foods, different tastes that you've grown accustomed to. And you go back to fruit, and it's like, oh my God, why wasn't I eating this before? I've done it for 3 years now, where at times I'll end up getting stocked up on fruit. And there'll be loads of it in the kitchen, like hallway, everywhere. You're just tripping over fruit. The fridge full of it, loads of juice. Then we end up ordering sushi for a takeaway or something. And then because I've eaten something that's rice based, I don't want to eat anything fruit based because it can give you indigestion. So I wait for it to go down. Or, because the sushi I have is vegan sushi, so avocado, nigiris, and makis. And the avocado being a very fat based fruit doesn't mix too well with the other fruits. Plus, then you've got the rice. One time I had a vegan sushi which had sun-dried tomato toppings, and the sun-dried tomato caused instant indigestion. I mean, I hadn't even finished chewing the second one, and I already felt the heartburn from the first one, the acid burps coming up. So I like savory foods and rice foods to be like the last thing I eat in the day. But a couple of times we've got fully stocked up on fruit, had some takeaway, woke up the next day, still had some left, started eating it. By the time we actually get to the fruit, started rotting, uh, going moldy. And that's for me. I love fruit. And that's how easy it is for me to get sidetracked. Like, I feel sorry for someone that's trying to do it for health reasons but doesn't enjoy the fruit. There's plenty of people out there. There's also a lot of people out there that can't handle the fruit because it's too much. My mum's one of them. She can't handle the gas that it gives because you get a lot of fermentation, a lot of gas when you first start doing it. Choose fasting or eating nothing but fruit. And these are things that you need to put time into trying to repair away from extreme measures like eating nothing but fruits, using the ascorbic acid and other things to burn it out. I think what you're better off doing in that case is fasting with herbal tea, specific herbs that would aid in different areas of your body that might be having trouble. Like, I'm not sure if it'd be a thyroid or hypothyroid or parathyroid or whatever it is. You've got loads of things that could potentially be wrong with your body. It's good to find these things out if you can. Think that this world of duality, it's a case of you've got life and you've got death. There's people that choose the living option and people that choose the dying option. The living option is you go for what's natural, and the light and love that comes from it will help us all live forever. You got the other option, just like the survivalist option, but it's where ultimately everything results in death, and we're doing our best to ward it off for as long as we can. You know, like, oh, everything in this world is going to kill you. Better take these jabs, better ingest these foods, make sure you've got plenty of steak or whey protein powder milkshakes, and gotta have your supplements. So everyone's got to have a supplement now, especially in the vegan world, and that's something that I'm so glad that I clutched onto this one piece of truth and held on so long without giving in, because there's so many people out there that you see videos, I went vegan for 5 minutes and I nearly died. And it's like, yeah, I get it. There's people with health conditions, there's people that have got things inside them that are unhealthy and can't make the transition. A lot of people go for the juice fasting as a way of transitioning into a healthier way of eating. But these people, they're not exactly eating healthy. They're choosing death. Yeah, okay, you might be choosing something that wasn't a living animal. Pat yourself on the back for that one. If you're still eating death, still causing harm to one animal now, aren't you? A poor animal that's eating what it's not supposed to eat. Because you're giving it modified tapioca starch, or you're giving it modified potato starch, or you're giving it gellan gum, or you're giving it xanthan gum, or thickener, different additives, replacing your milk with seed oil added to water with 0.1% almond or oat or whatever it's meant to taste like. I mean, I drink coconut milk. Don't get me wrong, I just try and go for the things that are minimal amount of fake, minimal amount of processed. And I think this world being about life and death, duality, you choose to be living or you choose to be dead. And they want you to choose to be dead. If you're dead, you're a part of this corpse, this corporation of people. They want you to sign with them, sign away your soul, so you can be dead matter. It's all these stars. Where do you think they come from? They're a part of this world, aren't they? It's like they were initially stars, but then they sold their soul to become the other type of star, the superstar. Trouble with that, though, is then they're bound to this place. Can't leave, you've got a contract. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. And if these people keep on coming back with the samsara cycle time and time again, it's just a circus for them. They would hate us, the people that still have a chance to escape this place because we haven't yet signed our soul away. I mean, let's just say it's very unlikely you're watching this 2 hours into this video of this random hippie talking about us all being from the same source. It's highly unlikely that you're watching this unless there's good reason for it. This is something that, in order to find it, how you would even go about searching it. And it wouldn't come up in the search results, not in the first few. This is impossible to search for. It's something that you find your way towards. Just want to do my best to make sure that it is actually helpful somewhere along the line. And the information that I learned was only useful to me when I started applying it. But at the same point, I'm not here to tell anybody how to live their life, or even saying that you should do what I did. More that I want to lay things out in a way that you're not used to hearing, and remind you that the choice is always yours. I may be a vegan, but if you want to be the world's greatest chef from Hell's Kitchen, doing creative things with animals that people don't even eat, usually like stuffed raccoon or something, like, you do you, man. It's our world to do as we please. Just bear in mind that as we're all one, there's only one person that's going to feel it if you do anything that you know would feel bad if you were on the receiving end. The golden rule is treat others how you would like to be treated, because that's what you're going to get. They say don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Well, doing the crime is what binds you here for another stretch of time. Makes sense why all these celebrities encouraging you to do crimes in their music, in their shows that they act. So yeah, I was going to wrap this up. I get distracted easily. So for those of you that are still watching, I appreciate your patience. I'm going to try and get some more content to you as soon as I can. It's just these have taken a lot more time than I thought, and there's been a lot more things to consider than I thought. Plus, I'm at this structural phase, just moved out of Capricorn into Aquarius. So I've got the structure set, now ready to start flowing. And Mars has been going backwards from Leo into Cancer, which started around about the first time that I stopped posting daily videos and started to retreat back into the home life, spend more time with my partner and my mum. And I think this will continue until about the 26th of February, maybe the 29th. I think it's 26th. That's when Mars comes out of retrograde, starts moving forward again. That'll be likely the point in when I start putting my action more towards my passion again. But for now, I'm going to focus on the things that are most important to me, which is family. I've got my mum and my partner. They're the two people I care about most. They're the people that kept me going through everything that's happened. Everything that went crazy from 2021, or from 2016 onwards, really. It's going back a few years now. 2016 is 9 years ago. Doesn't time fly when you're having fun? So yeah, thanks for watching. I'm gonna go and light my herbal cigarette now that I've been showcasing for no reason. Not advising anyone even smoke herbal cigarettes. Like, even this isn't great for my health. Smoking is bad for you. No two ways about it. Tobacco, not necessarily bad for you. It's the preservatives that they put in it. It's not the nicotine even that is a poison, but it's not as bad for you as the benzene, the formaldehyde, the hydrogen cyanide. There's 70 odd other carcinogenic substances that are used in one way, shape, or form. They're the things that are really bad for you, is the additives. But tobacco, if it was chewed or smoked in a purer sense, used to have effect on the IQ levels and, dare I say, positive health benefits. And then years later, the CDC, after classifying tobacco as healthy and safe, come out and say, actually, we were wrong. It's not so safe. And this is the same CDC that's reassuring you that jabs are safe. Wonder what they'll come out with in a few years, eh? Will it be too late by then? For some people, maybe. But no matter who you are and what you've taken, we've got a strong will. Just remember who we are. If we remember that, nothing on this fool's journey is going to harm us. As long as you know thyself and honor thy father and mother. It's not just honor your parents. It's not saying you, is it? It's saying thy father and mother. Father time, Mother Earth. Or Father time, Mother Nature. But also respect your parents on this plane of existence too. They're just like me and you, literally. Everyone we meet is going through a difficult journey. They're going through exactly what we would be going through in their conditioning. So yeah, for the third time, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.